Okay, so this video is just going to be me going through all of the components on the before school check. So once we've received our logins and we're all ready to go, we'll log in and we'll go to our medical center that we're working under. Cool. And then we will put the NHI of our child, of the child that we're putting in data. Cool. And then we're going to go to search all DHBs. All right, so here's Minnie Mouse. That's a date of birth. And the provider looks like it's under my name. So just to double check that, I'll click on the screen man and enter my name into here and just a bit of the practice that I'm working under in the organization. Cool, so SPEAR Unit 2, Brooklyn Office. Cool, I'll click that one. The child's now under my name. If you see that the child that you're wanting is underneath a different provider's name, let's say someone with outside of your practice, you'll have to give the before school team a call and they will allocate to you. However, if the child's allocated to someone within your practice, you should be able to click on the green man and enter your name. However, if there is any problems, the first point of contact should be the before school team. So once we've done that part, we'll click into the child's information. Here we can see the name, birth date, ethnicity, address. If we are wanting to update the address, we simply add address down here. We do not edit this front page address because we want to keep the history of old addresses onto the child's file. Cool. So then we have caregivers. So to add a caregiver, there's the plus sign over here. And then there you would just enter the contact details and address. Once that's done, you'll go to the before school tab here. And then you'll enter the consent. If the consent isn't entered, then you won't be able to complete anything else. So once you've entered the consent, so yes, written, who and when, you will scroll down and click save, and then everything will open up. All right, so because we have already worked in this child's file before, we can see that that there's already been data files created. So then we would just go add follow-up here. So we'll go add a follow-up. And then we would enter all of the details, so the family doctors, the name of preschool, siblings, preconditions, etc. So you can take this data straight out of the booklet that you've given to the parents or that you've worked on with the parents, and you'll just transfer that data onto here. Then you would click the date completed and the outcome. So there's a couple different options for the outcome. There's advice given, not referred. If they've declined a referral, if they've declined this component of the check completely, if they are wanting to be referred, and if they're under care. Cool, so I'll go not referred for this one. And all right, so because we did an add follow-up instead of a add new, because it was already completed, all of the follow-ups will be listed underneath here, okay? If you are wanting to just edit the the main one that you've done, you would click on these date links and they will take you to the original one, and you won't end up with a big list of follow-up checks down here. All right, so now we'll go into the dental. Right, so here's where you'll put the progression of decay. Again, if it's 2 or more, they will need to be referred. And again, if they're not enrolled, then they need to be enrolled. Cool, the outcomes here, enrolled at check, and referred, and then leave those others. Okay, so now we'll move on to the growth. So here we've put in the height, we've put in the weight, and then we've put in the date, and it let us calculate percentiles. So now that we've calculated percentiles, we can see the percent here, and look at that, the BMI is showing as well. So there I can see that the BMI is still in range, so we don't need to make a referral. However, if the BMI percentage was over 98%, then we would change this outcome to a referred. Again, if the family doesn't want to be referred, then referral declined or advice given. Next, we have immunizations. So these can be done in the middle of the check or after the check, but we don't recommend you do it separately. So 2 different appointments. We want to try get them done at the same time. Okay. So here you'll put in the past immunizations, so partial, declined, or complete, and then you'll have all the way up to the 4 years. The outcomes are a bit different here too. So completed is if the immunizations were done prior to the appointment, and immunized is if they've done the immunizations at the appointment. Cool. We'll click save and then come back. Next is the peds. So here a yes, no, a little. Again, you would copy from the booklet. If the caregiver ticks a little, then we would still count that as a yes. Just to keep in mind. And then again, you can add comments or notes up until the ending where you would score your PEDS form. So in the booklet, there is the yes, no questions, and then there is the circles and squares scoring form. And then there is the pathways. So there was no for every question, so that's 0 circles and 0 squares. And I know that that pathway type is E. So that is a non-referred. If the pathway type is A or even B, then that's a straight referral. And if there's a C or a D, then that can be a referral or maybe a follow-up. But it all depends on your clinical judgment. Okay, so when we've done the outcome, we'll click save and head back. And then we have the last one, SDQP. Right. So here again, you would follow the booklet and enter in the circles all the way to the end, and then it'll once you click this button, it'll calculate the scores down here. However, if it doesn't let you calculate scores, that means you've just missed a circle or 2 somewhere. Okay. So here I can see that all of this child's scores are quite low, except for the pro-social, which is good. Ideally, we would like 0s for everything and a 10 for pro-social. So that's something to keep in mind. And as well, if the total score is 17 and above, then that would require a follow-up or a referral. Okay. So I put in the date, the outcome, and I'll click save. All right. So that's that part of the check done. We can also see, the vision and hearing checks, the outcomes here. Nothing's been done yet for this kid, but you can always keep an eye out that way. Okay, so now that we've entered the check, we have to return the child back to the coordinator, back to the team, so they can allocate the child onto the next step, which is the vision and hearing, or if there's any referrals that need to be followed up, they would put it in their folders to follow up on. Okay, so to do that, we have to go back to child information, allocation history, cool. And then we will have this return child to coordinator and this blue arrow here. So here you put in your practice number. Cool. And the reason for returning child. So I'll just put completed. However, if you do have a child that's allocated to your practice that you haven't done the before school check on due to they've moved overseas, they've transferred anywhere, they've declined the check, this is where you should go to put the return reason and then return it back to us. Cool. This message may pop up due to the SDQT not being entered, but again, that's done by the before school team and or the vision and hearing not being entered. Cool. So we can just click OK for that one. And then we can see here that there's the return reason completed and the data was done. Cool. So now we can see that we've entered the check. We know where to check if the vision and hearing needs to be done or hasn't been done. We know where to return the child. And here's the child information.